In terms of how would you evaluate Howard Matthews and how he played his, in his first start?
We had two guys have their first start, Jarvis Harrison and Howard Matthews, and the game wasn't. You always worry about the game is too big for him, and it was a big game and a very hostile environment, and I thought they both handled it quite well. Howard was very much in composed, non-panic type of state, which I thought was good, as was Jarvis. I mean, they did their jobs. There's some things we got to clean up with both of those guys, but I thought they both fared well. I thought they both did a good job. Howard played very aggressive, missed a couple calls, but overall I thought he did a good job. Jarvis did some amazing things physically that really impressed me. He missed a protection or two that caused some pressure on the quarterback, but overall, pretty good job.
So when Cedric comes back, does that make it tougher?
Well, yeah, it does make it tough. It makes it a lot better
right.
from our standpoint, because we have guys with experience, and I don't know how either one of those guys ends up sitting down. I think they're both going to have to play some, so and that's a good position to be in. I think they both have tremendous ability, and they both played their starts extremely well, so it's a good problem to have. Well, every year his passing accuracy has improved. I mean, to be throwing, I think I just studied years ago on the top Super Bowl championship teams, playoff teams, when I was in the Packers, and if you were 7.8, 8.0 per an attempt, that was pretty good. That would be championship caliber play. Well, he's 11.58 on per attempt, not per completion, per attempt. And so he's at a very high level. He's throwing 82% efficient. He has one interception. He has 19 touchdowns. Last year he had 22 for the season. So, I mean, he's hitting on all cylinders. I think his accuracy as a quarterback has been the biggest thing. Now, they're a big play-action team downfield this year. With Ganaway, their running back, a big back that you have to have respect for. They'll be able to have the fakes that they're able to have with the running game and still throw the ball vertically down the field. They've been very successful with that. Wright has been, he's been catching everything, and they have great speed at those skill positions. So they've done a good job.
That was a heck of a touchdown catch by Lamothe, and he seems like a neat story guy. You talked about who works so hard. Could you just...
Yeah, he does. Mike and Mike's not the fastest, the biggest, or the strongest, but he gives you everything he has. And I thought the play of the game obviously was the field goal block and the return for a touchdown by Terrence Frederick and the block by Dustin Harris. But the other play that can't go unnoticed is Mike Lamothe's effort. And I called the play. The pass by Tannehill was, I wouldn't say it was a good call because they really defended it. The end came upfield, was in Tannehill's face. It was about as good a pass as he's ever thrown. I mean, the guy was right on top of him. For him to get that ball off is amazing. And then for Mike to catch it and then have to run through two different defenders, it just shows the type of toughness that he has. He's just a great kid. He works so hard. You never hear a word out of Mike. He's a great student. He's great on and off the field. Comes to practice every day. I'd recruit him 10 times over and more so. He just brings a lot to the table for us. And again, the story about him is he's not the fastest, the biggest, or the strongest, but if the game's on the line, I mean, he's one of those guys that you can trust that he's going to do what he's supposed to do when he's supposed to do it. So a lot of confidence in Mike.
Coach, Baylor, another in-state rival that you guys will be playing for the last time in a while. Is there extra emotion when you play a school like that?
Well, I think I don't know. Y'all always ask me that, and I try to always honest in the answer. I mean, anytime you play anytime you play a football game and you represent A&M, I think it should always be extra. Maybe that's a little bit naive on my part, but it always is. And every game we play, I think, should be, it's the biggest game of the year. And certainly this is the biggest game. So last week Tech was the biggest game of the year. So that's just the way I look at it. I don't know how the players look at it. Try to make every game seem very, very important. Certainly Baylor being just down the road, you know, off his new insights into the rivalry and so forth. And it's been a great rivalry. I remember when I was assistant coach here, and James Francis and Santana Dawson who played for me in Green Bay, and playing against those guys, and Grant Tapp being the coach, and Pete Fredenberg was the defensive coordinator at the time. Was a great coach. So I mean, the history goes back with me as well. So it's a great rivalry. There's no question.
Can you talk about Robert Griffin and his ability to be able to run the football? Not just, you talked about how great an arm he has, but I mean, he's got pretty good feet too.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has a couple touchdowns rushing, about 280 yards on 60 carries. It seems like, you know, the one that sticks out of my head is the one he hit against us last year up there. Just split our defense and ran for a long touchdown. I don't remember exactly how far it was, but it was a good distance. So anytime the ball's in his hands, he could throw for a touchdown and run for a touchdown. So you have to respect both parts of his play. When he starts to run, I mean, he's like Michael Vick. You know, you just don't know what to expect. You know, and he's more accurate actually.